Hello YouTube, this is Chris with Kerbal Space Program Point 22 Career Mode, Part 3. This is a Munar Flyby. So I built a rocket with a mix of solid rockets and liquid fuel rockets. This will get me into orbit around Kerbin, low Kerbin orbit, which is fine for a Munar transfer. You don't need to go out any further because what usually happens is if you want to do an interplanetary transfer, you have to kind of put your spaceship out way past Kerbin's orbit. I usually go 650 to 800 kilometers in a circular orbit, only because the time you can't get it to go much faster if you're close to Kerbin. So the further out you go, you can get it to the high speed time dilation, and that way you can go through like 103 days or whatever it is, whatever the phase is of the plane. It just takes a while, so I just like to get it out into a far orbit. But just for going to the moon, you can do a low Kerbin orbit, no problem. And I'll do it with MechJeb. I've done it before without it. It's faster. The only problem is MechJeb really effed me over on this one. It gave me a almost a 90-degree inclination orbit, and I won't have enough fuel to set up an orbit and then do a transfer back to Kerbin. So I'm gonna have to adjust my inclination a bit while I'm just at the outside edge of the sphere of influence. And then what I'll do is I'll change the inclination and I'll adjust my orbit a little bit. So in my maneuver node will put me back into Kerbin. Probably I was trying to get it in the high atmosphere, upper atmosphere, but it just put me kind of almost in the center of the planet. But that doesn't really matter because the atmosphere slows you down enough anyway, and I was able to land. But this is just it took more fuel to get up into orbit than I wanted. Even with that long stage, this one will burn out, and then it'll have one of those smaller. I call them orbital engines. It's just a smaller engine. It doesn't have a lot of thrust, but its ISP is pretty good, and it just took more than I wanted. But that's okay. I was still able to get a lunar encounter. I was gonna do. I was gonna try to get into an orbit, but I just didn't have enough fuel left, so I ended up just doing a flyby and then coming back to Kerbin, like I said. So this is what it is. Alright, so I'm going to be setting up my transfer here with MechJeb. And actually, I've already done the transfer. This is the transfer burn right now. And then I'll check the map and just see where my transfer is going to lead me. So it just, like I said, it put me in an almost 90-degree inclination, which doesn't help me at all if I want to get back to Kerbin with the least amount of fuel possible. So here I am just adjusting my trajectory here so I can get kind of back into a Kerbin orbit for an aero braking maneuver. And that's what I'm setting up here. So once I set it up, I'll just do the burn and then I'll go through and I'll end up getting back into Kerbin's orbit. So after I set up all the maneuver node adjustments, I decide that in the meantime I'm going to do an EVA report. It canceled out all of my maneuver node adjustments, so I had to redo it again. Not a big deal. It's just when you're trying to do a timed burn and you have to reset up a maneuver node, it's kind of tough because I was having trouble reselecting a new maneuver node because of the way the map is like a glitch where you can't really. Sometimes you can't get your selector on the current trajectory, it'll be on like a following one. If there's one above it, like a longer one. If you're looking at the map and you've ever had this happen, you know what I mean. But sometimes it's hard to just place a maneuver node on that blue line. But anyway, so I redo it, and I managed to get back into the Kerbal sphere of influence and do a aero brake maneuver, land with all my science equipment intact, and was able to put up some science points. Not a whole hell of a lot, but better than you know normal, because the moon is kind of new for me in this career. So I did get some good points for it, and I'll probably chew up a couple of those, couple more missions using the moon, and then go to Minmus, because Minmus has some good science points as well. But that was it for this, and stay tuned for future episodes where I do some more stuff. Thank you. If you have any questions or you want to see something in particular, just leave a message in the comments. Thanks.